I noticed a few moans and groans last night in the comment section on yesterday's video discussing Manchester United's summer transfer window. The people out there who aren't happy with the transfer window and how it's gone. I want to know your feelings once you've had now time to sleep on it. We're also going to be discussing the Athletics article from Laurie Whitwell, and he's given some points and some facts on how Manchester United's transfer window has gone and some of the discussions, what went on. So we're going to break it down, touch on the key points, but as ever, we want to know your opinions in that live chat and the comment section so we can discuss them throughout today's video. One thing that struck me most, though, reading this article today, and that was André Onana. I'm not too sure.
André Onana come back. And Ruben Amorim was fuming straight away, not impressed with his fitness. And what did Onana want? He wanted his contract sorting out. He wanted more money. I could not believe it when I read it. I was fuming. I was happy yesterday. All the Deadwood out, everything else like that. We know it's about money with a lot of players. But the moment I read this, I was also baffled as to why Ruben Amorim didn't act with this goalkeeper to come back after the season he had, right? Lost confidence, he was dropped from the team, and he comes back asking for more money. I just could not believe it. The goalkeeper is under massive pressure last year, failed in a lot of people's eyes. And he comes back when you should be concentrating about getting fit and doing your best for Man United, especially André Onana. And he's come back with money demands. Absolutely, I was on the floor. And I suspect many of you are once we start getting into it proper.
You did say quite early in the transfer window as well that you believed that Manchester United would keep with André Onana as the number one going into this season. And in the Athletic this morning, they actually break it down as to say that they were planning on doing that themselves, but the way the actual season then started with Bayinde and André Onana, you know, they had to actually take firm action and take it straight away by getting Lammens in.
Yeah, I always thought that was the plan, to keep Onana, hoping that he'd improve. Lots of people were confused. Why didn't he act early on in the season, in the pre-season, and get rid of him? Everyone's saying we need a new goalkeeper and all that, and I can understand that. But I never believed it was United, and he confirms that in the article today. But everything changed. Well, to be honest with you, it changed. He was poor. I just look at it and think to myself, I would have dealt with it straight away, as soon as pre-season when they come back. People coming back asking for more money. That is not the right attitude to come. I was over the moon with what United have done in the transfer window, because the main priority, which we've all been asking for, all fans have been asking for a long, long time, let's reset, let's start again. But to do that, you have to get rid of all the Deadwood. And for me, the Deadwood's gone. You don't hear players revolting inside the ground as much as what you used to. So for me, it's the right strategy, the right thing to do, and then reset. But for a player to come back and demand more money, he's got to be out, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm shocked that United didn't act until it was too late. Now, what we've got to do, we've got to find him a club, we've got to get him out. But I'll tell you what, if his demands walking back in here at the start of pre-season was all about money, you're going to find it very, very hard to get rid of this player. It looks like we've got another piece of Deadwood on our hands here.
Just going into the chats, popping off already, different opinions in there. Keep carrying on, and we'll discuss them throughout today's video. Patrick Shields, thanks for your super chat, my mate.
Thank you.
No accident Onana does this the day after the transfer window shuts. Ginger says, and thanks for your super chat, my mate.
Thank you.
I'm seeing a lot of negativity in the fan base towards this transfer window. Barada and Wilcox have done well. Time to be positive and get behind the team.
Well, we've cleared the decks, and it is time to get positive for nearly a fortnight now. The fan base is sort of like questioning everything, doubting everything and all that. But now it's clear. We've had the games out of the way. We've had the plan. The transfer plan, shall I say, all agreed, put in, looking for Premier League experience. We went out, got that straight away. We ended up with Sesko. We've ended up now with the goalkeeper, albeit a little bit late, but it's there, it's changed, and you have to be positive going forward. I think everything is when you look at the players, you look at the fitness, and you look at what Ruben Amorim wants from these players, I think you have to say this is the starting block now. Everything's been cleared, and we should be positive. It will be better football than what we had last year.
Hilvin Mason, good morning, watching from the Dominican. Thanks for joining us, my mate.
Thanks for joining us, pal.
He does also say he's kind of happy with what we've done so far in this transfer window. Should I say the transfer window that's just slammed shut over here in England. And I do want to get on to Rasmus Højlund as well. A few quotes from what's been wrote down in The Athletic today. You've read them. What do you make of that?
Yeah, Højlund clearly wanted to stay in that. But once United went in for Sesko while they were on the pre-season tour, it was agreed he was out. I do believe from the article, it's sort of the way I'm reading it, it was suggested he was out when they had the meeting 2 days after the season ended, that there's no room for sentiment here, and that was the transfer strategy. No sentiment, no nothing. We're going to do this, so let's get him out. But I did say, and I have said a few times, really should have been told early doors. But I think United were sort of playing the game. It's business, you know what business is like. It's ruthless and that. Let's not tell him yet, just in case we don't, and we'll say, yeah, we always wanted to keep Højlund. Maybe that was behind the thinking with United. But once he was told, he was out and he wasn't happy.
He did say after the pre-season game against Bournemouth that my plan is very clear. I want to stay and fight. But also it says in the article that Højlund felt that he was better than Sesko. And it's one of the reasons why he wanted to stay and fight for the competition for that spot.
Yeah, you'd imagine a player turning around, don't matter who it is, but Højlund there, he was fighting for his place. He was adamant he would get better. Things would change and everything. And any problems, what was out there on the pitch, wasn't all down to him. And he felt, and, you know, you've got to give him a little bit of kudos to sort of say, no, I'm better than him. And that's what you would expect. He was a Manchester United player, striker, the only striker by the looks of it. And he felt he could do more and he's better than Sesko, what United was bringing in. He was telling the club, stop wasting your money on Sesko. I'm here. I'm prepared to do the job. Good sentiments, but at the end of the day, United weren't having any of it.
Gareth Morgan from our members club says, let's hope this new keeper can do the business. I just want to read a comment out as well from Paddy H, putting a bit of perspective on things. At the start of the window, if you would have said that we'd have signed Cunha and Mbeumo, Sesko and León and a new goalie, plus offloading what we have, I'd have said you were bonkers. And like we've put on the YouTube title there, we needed this, and it was always our focus. And I think a lot of yous out there as well of shifting out the bomb squad, the negative influences inside that squad. Yeah,
the negative influence. Listen, it wasn't just the negative influences inside the club. It's also a strategy of cost cutting and everything which was needed, over bloated in every aspect of this football club. So for me, there's a lot more players, young players gone out on loan and everything else like that. I think there's up to 29 people what have been moved around inside this playing squad throughout the club. So for me, I don't think there is any negatives. I just don't see any negatives. United had a certain amount of budget. They went and spent it. They actually spent it before any money came in. So they went out, got the targets, and they all agreed, let's start with some Premier League experience and let's see what comes in. And for me, I don't see how anyone can be critical of a club what was on its knees. And I mean on its knees. We start again and let's get behind them. That's how I don't see it any other way for anyone. Yes, we can't get everything we want in life, but this is a good start. And getting the Deadwood out was the first priority. It was the major priority, because in the background, it had to change, and it would never change while that Deadwood was hanging about.
Yeah, of course, like, no matter these 4 signings who I'm going to mention right now, what they've done at the previous clubs, it's all about what they're going to do in a Manchester United shirt. But if you look at it on paper, I know things aren't one on paper, I get all that, but bringing in this keeper to replace André and Onana, bringing in the likes of Cunha and Mbeumo to replace the likes of Rashford, Garnacho, Anthony, and also Sesko replacing Højlund, I think we've actually improved the squad there.
Well, you've got to look at it. If you had Anthony on the pitch, you'd be fuming, absolutely fuming. If you had Rashford on the pitch, you'd be fuming. You know, let's not even get into Sancho, because we all know. And Garnacho, very frustrating. Do you know what I mean? There's a blame game going on there with Garnacho. Was it Garnacho? Was it Ruben Amorim and all that? At the end of the day, when you see attitudes like Onana coming in, asking for more money on the back of a diabolical season, you can see that things had to be sorted. You couldn't rely on that forward line, what I've just mentioned there. And Højlund, his goal record was poor. So
I've got to give a bit of balance here as well, as they always try and do. But, you know, Manchester United built on, like, bringing academy lads through there. But is it killing that narrative now with youth and patience when we're losing the likes of Højlund, Garnacho, you know, Kobbie Mainoo wanted a loan as well?
No, I think what was killing the youth, right, was looking forward and looking up to these players what have just been booted out of this club. These players, these young players, and we've seen a few young players go astray. Okay, you look at Mason Greenwood, for instance, his behaviour outside of the football pitch and everything, and there's lots of stories about him. I'm using him as an example. And then you had the fullback who just ended up like on laughing gas. Do you know what I mean?
Brandon Williams.
Brandon Williams, young player coming through, looked good, and then just went off the rails. A lot of young players have come through this club, right, and just looked at what's above them. And when you've got a leader, so-called leader in Rashford, who the club was thinking of building a team round, with his attitude, players have been destroyed by players out on that pitch and in and around the club. That's all changed now. All changed.
A lot of comparisons people are making already with what other clubs have done in this transfer window. And I think you need to actually focus and look at what our club's doing, where it's been over the last few years, specifically over the last 2 seasons as well, and the players that we've managed to bring in. I mean, they've still spent a few quid, Manchester United, and to me, it looks like they've backed Ruben Amorim as well.
Yeah, they backed Ruben Amorim and they have spent a few quid. And with all this cost-cutting going on, you have to look forward. And it's one thing at a time. Ruben Amorim, he's had a nice summer, nice transfer window, and you've got to look at the next one. It's a stepping stone. You know, Omar Barada, he's looking at 2028. So it's a building process. You look at next summer and you say to yourself, there's a few quid coming in, you know, possibly off Rashford, Højlund, there's 40 million. You don't know what you're going to get for Rashford. So for me, you look at next summer and any money what's there, and Ratcliffe has told us when he came in that any money, right, from player sales and everything else like that will be used to buy players. Now, it looks like that at the moment, do you know what I mean? So going into next summer, I say to myself, some big players are going to be bought here, but here we are at the bottom. We're starting again with some good players and a totally, completely different attitude. And we've been on the floor. Fans need now to get off the floor, and the players now have to start performing. Just like Ruben Amorim, he has to start getting results for us, and the players are there and quite capable. They just need to gel, just like every other team needs to gel. It's early doors.
Vincent McDonald, thanks for your super chat. All right, lads, I think INEOS have done well this transfer window. Realistically, it's going to take a few transfer windows to build this squad. I mean, I'm looking at another summer transfer window, mate, and I think it's more or less like, look, you know, we want to see like real progress. You know, this season I was always looking for improvement. I mean, just in the first 10 games to win back-to-back games in the Premier League, I don't think that's too much to ask with what players we've bought in this summer transfer window. Get another summer transfer window down us, possibly that January one coming up as well, if we can add 1 or 2 in there. I mean, the following season, I want to see some real progress then.
Go back to previous transfers, okay? Like he says, he thinks INEOS have done good. Go back to Woodward, okay? Go back to Richard Arnold, how they dealt with people in the summer in the transfer window. They got walked all over. They got had over in contract talks. They went out there and spent absolutely ridiculous money. No point me sitting here, right, telling you what you already know about overvalued players, how that went on for years and years, and then how they were able to rot on massive contracts, okay? Of course, INEOS have done right. They've set the tone. They've said, this is the standard, right? And you're all out, okay? You're Deadwood, you're taking liberties, and I've been taking liberties, but no more. So on that point, INEOS have done great. Also, INEOS have had some missteps. Yeah, it's going to happen. You've got to hope that their missteps are few and far between going forward. But for me, take a look back at the garbage, the way this club was run and the way players were brought in on over-inflated wages and weren't even... United just were getting mugged right off. Where have United been mugged off this summer? Not been mugged off. I never expected 1 penny for Anthony. We just got over £20 million for him. And everyone out there is absolutely gobsmacked. Yeah, of course we lost a lot of money, but that's nothing to do with INEOS or the people in charge now. That's to do with the previous regime. Sancho going, all the money what was paid, that's the previous regime, okay? That's how it is. So for me, INEOS have done the right thing, set the plan out, and they've stuck to it.
Prove your worth instead of being given the money for it when you've not achieved it. And, you know, how many times have we said that about players being given huge contracts at United without actually proving it? Juan Paveda, hopefully I pronounced that right, my mate. Thanks for your super chat. He says he's happy we didn't pay 100 million plus for Baleba. If you want to elaborate on that, mate, why you're happy with that? I'm sure a lot of other people in the chat, though, will get involved with that opinion. And yeah, the transfer strategy, there's another project though. We've got Project 150, there's been Mission 21 from Sir David Brailsford, but Ratcliffe's new Project 90 aims to improve the balance sheet by £90 million annually via cost-cutting, commercial deals and better player trading.
Yeah, well, it was clear what was going to happen. It is cost-cutting all over. And when you look at all the cost-cutting and the looking forward, which will then give them, right, a little bit of leeway in the FFP and everything else like that, they've spent 200 million. That's what they've spent. They're inside the FFP. How that works fully, I'm not the expert on it. But they're looking forward to next year, and that's what you want to see, a plan. And I think there is a plan for the next couple of years, and the money coming in and the money being spent in the right places. But the cost-cutting had to be done. Yes, it was ruthless. You know, some of the things don't sit well with me, don't sit well with you out there. But it's all about on the team, and that plan's there. I've criticised them, right? I have criticised them, right, as if to say it doesn't look right what they're doing and all that. But they seem to be able to work out, this is the strategy for money. They know what's needed. And so long as we see that player sales and all that money gets spent and reinvested on new players, you can't argue with that, especially when you see all the money, what's been wasted over the last 10 years. And when I do look at that, I'm just absolutely gobsmacked at it. But hey, we're over that now, and we're supposed to be positive. I'm positive.
Just going back into the chat, Fred Cranham has gifted 5 memberships. Fred the Red, the legend, the 5 people who have been gifted their memberships. A big thank you to Fred. Madhouse, which I think it's been at Manchester United for a number of years now, has said, we got 4 starting players. We all thought we were skint. He's even rating it. He's giving it an 8 out of 10 window for me. Plus the bomb squad have virtually all gone. A lot of positivity in there, my mate.
Yeah, when you look at the players what we brought in, Mbeumo took a long time to come in, and in the article it's explained that if it wasn't, they had alternatives, and that Semenyo from Bournemouth was being looked at if it failed to get over the line. So for me, when you do look at the transfer, any player what they went for or were looking at, there was always other alternatives, and it's the same with Sesko.
Yeah, a couple of people have pointed out that Malacia is still there. He's like the forgotten man that we've mentioned before. But I think the Saudi and the Turkish windows are still open, aren't they? So hopefully we can make it 5 out of 5 in this window as well.
Yeah, that's not a big problem, is it? Let's have it right. You know, you don't hear too much of him. He can be sidelined, and he has been sidelined. I don't think there's anything to worry. Like I say, there's a little, like Kieron says, there's a little bit of time there. There's opportunities to go somewhere, and really, they'll just push him out the door just to get him out the door. His wages, whatever they are, that they might have to pay a few quid towards his wages. But hey, that's it. I just want to touch back, sorry, before we go forward there, on Baleba. You know, like the Ruben Amorim was pushing for him. And in the article, it tells you clear that personal terms were agreed. But we go into looking at the cost cutting and everything else like that, the finances. And Manchester United, the men in suits, they agreed that it was too much to buy. So Ruben Amorim, another player, he wanted him. Unfortunately, he was too dear. And I can understand with the cost cutting, at this moment in time, paying mega money for a player seemed a little bit beyond what Manchester United were willing to pay. And like I say, yeah, it's disappointing, really disappointing. But it's a stepping stone, and it's one step at a time.
It did also say in the article that a striker was prioritised instead of the midfielder at the start of the window, and it does seem to state that it was actually Jason Wilcox who was pushing for that striker more so than Ruben Amorim, who wanted that midfielder in early.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. Once you sit down and they start discussing, it's where the majority, and they've got a few people what sit down, discuss, and at the end of the day, yes, the manager wanted a midfield player, but other people were higher up the hierarchy, decided this is what we want, and Ruben Amorim has to go with it. That's called delegation. So backing a manager like blindly is not going to happen at Manchester United. They needed goals, and they also knew that Højlund wasn't the man to continue, and they needed to sort that out. And we were short of goals. So yes, midfield player. We all see what we want, but a striker. And I'm glad it's gone like that, because we'd have all been like screaming blue murder. Would they have paid the £100 million? Well, I've just spoke there, haven't I, Kieran? United weren't prepared to pay the £100 million anyway. So whatever Ruben Amorim wanted, it's unachievable at this moment. Now, that might be achievable next summer, whether it's Baleba or another midfield player, who knows? So the finances, the cost-cutting and everything might work next summer to Ruben Amorim's advantage when he picks a player.
Matt, thanks for your super chat, mate.
Thank you.
He says, should United appeal the Grimsby fine? Feeling that ineligible player?
Well,
1 minute too late or something like that.
Explain fully what's gone on there, Kieran, so I know.
Yeah, it's something about Grimsby fielding an ineligible player versus Manchester United in the League Cup. The registration of Clark Odeur was posted at 1 minute past 12 the day before the game. 12 is the deadline. Club who self-reported it have been fined 20 grand, 10k suspended rather than thrown out of the competition. It'd be absolutely embarrassing if Manchester United went and appealed anything against Grimsby, in my view. That 1 minute too late didn't stop André Onana from missing the balls completely or stop Manchester United players giving the required intensity in that game.
I think you just got to move on, ignore that, because anyone starts talking about, we should be in there, the rules were broken, United need to get back in there. I think let's just cut that right now. So for me, just move on quickly as possible before everyone ends up with a red face.
Lulu D from our members club, considering our circumstances, I agree it hasn't been a bad window. Every player gets in the team straight away, so improvement on the starting 11. I totally agree with you. Ahmet says the transfer window is a 4 out of 10. Can't see it any higher than an 8 out of 10. My backside, LOL.
Well, you have to look at it in the big picture. Look at the culture. The culture's changed. The standards have changed inside the club, and one of the reasons being is because we've got the Deadwood out. The toxicity is out. That's a great start. And to get some money off one or two of them when everyone was expecting nothing, you've got money for Garnacho, you've got money for Anthony. So for me, that just outweighs everything. We've brought in players. And I remind you again, look what Woodward used to do. Look what Arnold used to do. Carnage, okay? Spending money on average players. These players we brought in and they targeted Premier League experience, and that's what they brought in. 2 out of the 4.
Yeah, keep step. Baleba is too expensive this summer. Amorim needs to get something out of Mount and Ugarte, who he's sold once before at Sporting Lisbon with Ugarte, before anyone comes into midfield. And do you agree with that he has to start getting a tune or fixing any of the problems that we've got in midfield with the players that he's got?
He's got to get a tune out of them all. And the games we've played, up and down. You might have 20 minutes here and there. So it's been frustrating that they haven't kicked on, especially when they had a good pre-season and that. No, every player will improve. I just see like they've got the energy, they've got the legs. We've seen that already. And then it sort of tailed off at Fulham. So for me, I just look at it and think, no, going forward, these players, they're all in line. They all understand. This is the good thing about these players. They all understand what they have to do. And there's just 1 or 2 players now what aren't aligned to what it is to play for Manchester United. And I have to go back to Onana. That man is just not aligned to what really the realities of life is all about here at Manchester United. He just seems to have like big smile on his face without a care in the world. And his only interest is with the same as the others, the Deadwood players, all about money. I don't get the mentality, and the quicker we move him on, the better. We can't have players like that. Can't have players like that. We can't let it fester neither. And the reality is we've got 4 goalkeepers. So you never know. In the next few days, someone somewhere might take up Onana and give him what he wants. And I know what some people want to give him, but hey, that's another story.
Matty Gorman, thanks for your super chat, but you want to wind up, mate? All right, lads. And he wants us to rate Liverpool's transfer window. I don't know if you want to take over that one, but I ain't rating it.
I've not been watching football. I've not been watching football this year because what it is, and I don't care about I don't care about anybody else.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't care about watching other games. Okay, the reason being is because Manchester United are in crisis. I have not got the mentality and the time to watch anybody else because Manchester United has consumed me this summer after the worst season. I don't know how anyone can watch anyone else playing after watching and like going through pain, watching the worst season I've ever known in my life. Okay, I can't concentrate on other football and I'm not interested, and you shouldn't be. And you can't compare anybody to what Manchester United do. Yeah, we're going through a tough time, they're going through a good time. Fine, that's life. But at the end of the day, Manchester United is the biggest club in the world. End of. So there's no comparisons, okay? They've got their moment, fine.
Yeah, I just don't get all the comparing, even when they compare Amorim to Fergie's early years or what he done at Sporting Lisbon, or comparing him to Arteta in his early years, or comparing players. Just say what you see, honestly, with what you're seeing right now on the football pitch, with what's going in and around Manchester United right now, because realistically, most of us know where we're at as a football club, and we've all been through the good times, and we know what it takes to get back there, and we're still on that long road, and it's not going to be fixed, or I never expected it to be fixed in this summer's transfer window. But I think he's been given enough there, Ruben Amorim, to work with, to see an improvement with results going on this season.
It's been given plenty. It's been given... He's been given the maximum what was available. He knew how difficult it was going to be. He knew he wasn't going to get all his targets, and people have had to adjust. Ruben Amorim's adjusted. Let's hope he gets them all gelled, which I think the players are gelled. I think the pre-season told you that. Yes, there's little things what need doing. Always need that, and we always need more players. Every football club does, but. You know, I think we're in a great position with the players, all the mentality and everything. It's all there. It's just the fitness and it gelling. I just look at the few games we've played and it's not gelled. There's still a bit of tweaking to do. But, hey, that's football. It's all positive going forward. I don't see any negatives at this moment in time. It's just if something flares up massively, which can happen at any time to any club.
Alex J59, have I woken up on April Fool's Day? Some of the comments are trolls of a poor level. Notice 1 or 2, my mate, pretending to be United fans, I think. But listen, you're all welcome here on the Webby and O'Neill channel, getting your opinions in. Obviously, Graham says the Deadwood didn't play the first 3 games this season. Not much has changed on the pitch.
It's pre-season. It's early games. End of. Other teams, come on. It happens. You go and look at the results, what have happened. You know what I mean? 1 minute, great game. They've won. Oh, my God, they're going to get Champions League. Look at us. You know, we're going to get nothing. And then the narrative changes because they got beat and all that. You know, it's all there. You know, it's early doors. No team hits the ground running, right, and plays spectacular football, right, from the off. Because not everyone is in line with each other from a fitness point of view at anything. And if you look at all these players, they've played a lot, especially in the Premier League. You look at them, they've played a lot of football over the last 2 years. And there will be casualties going forward with injuries and everything. So I just look at Manchester United in a positive way. Players will get the chance. Young players, Obi, for instance, he will come into the squad. He will get opportunities. And it's a stepping stone this season, right? And what we all want is to finish as high as we can. Lots of people were talking about Champions League and everything else like that. that conversation's gone at the moment until we see improvement. But I expect improvement. I demand improvement like everybody else out there. But it won't be smooth sailing, as I keep reminding the trolls.
Anthony Wisdom says he hasn't been given a midfielder, which is criminal for the club. That can be the difference between getting European football or not. Our midfield is well below, unfortunately, but he's been given goals in the team, which we only scored 44 last year. He's been given a new keeper now, which I've not seen a lot of, but you'd expect him to do the basics, right? And that's the reason they've got him, because they think he's a good goalkeeper. So that, fixes two of the problems that we were suffering from last season. So things should be better. Yeah, we are looking at the midfield, and rightly so, that we can see inconsistencies in there, or players who just don't fit in there, square pegs in round holes. But like I say, you can't have everything in one season. This ain't FIFA, it's not Football Manager, it's the real world. And I think he's been given enough based on what we've seen last season to improve the squad. And let's have it right, the men in suits behind the scenes will want to see improvement before they shell out any more money for Ruben Amorim.
Well, you look at it. Listen, Ruben Amorim knows there was a problem there. He wanted Baleba. He was the one what was pushing for it. Personal terms were agreed, but the finances were too dear. So that cut that. So everyone at the club is aware, okay, simple as what the problem is, what we needed, but it was unattainable. Next year, we'll get it. So all the players have to rally around. The players what are going to be in that position, they have to step up. They have to step up. And at this moment in time, I thought Ugarte would have stepped up, but Ruben Amorim's disappointed in him, and he's given him a kick up the backside. Okay, he's given him a kick up the backside. Casemiro's in there. He's fighting for it, right? But we know Casemiro can't last 90 minutes. But Ruben Amorim is pushing other players, and they're failing at the moment, right? And he's going to be on them, and he's going to be on players like Ugarte to go in there. And opportunities are going to come, like we said. Mainoo's coming into the side because of two players injured, Mount and Cunha. So you just don't know what's going to come. But there's opportunities for players to fight, and that's what you want. Competition for places. Something we've not had, fighting for places in this team. People have just been blasé walking out there. None bigger than some of the Deadwood, what's just been booted out.
Matt, thanks for your super chat.
Thank you.
United have had 20 shots each game. Converting these equals wins. It's all about rhythm as well. Them players getting adjusted to each other, which when I seen Mbeumo on the weekend against Burnley, he's definitely match fit now. He's got that sharpness and he's not blowing after 60 minutes. So that's a big plus for me as well. Yeah,
listen, we're getting all the shots. We're getting all the shots. Well, we were saying that last year. We was getting all the opportunities, and it was converting it. It was the chances. That was the thing. When you look at chances to goals, outrageous. They just weren't being put in the net. We need to see a change in that, and hopefully we've got the cobwebs out. The boots have been dusted down, and they're ready for when we start against City. That's what you've got to look forward to. That will change, because we've got goals in this team now, and we've got a different attitude, and the players are all in sync with each other, which is completely different than last year. Lots of players last year were very, very selfish, okay? Head down, running forward, not looking up, not passing the ball, the simple ball where the player had a better opportunity to score. How many times was we screaming and shouting when players were shooting, when there was other opportunities and other chances for players better than, let's say, Garnacho, for instance, head down, running forward and shooting. Then you look at Rashford, early doors. It's the same thing again, selfishness. That's not going to happen in this team, because Ruben Amorim demands that they play like a team, and then they create. And Cunha and Mbeumo, you're going to see in the by Christmas a partnership there with Ahmad, to be honest with you, because I think he's already got a partnership. So the goals are going to come.
Matt says as well, and he's got a fair point here, I reckon if Amorim can get some wins and some consistency, INEOS will back him in January with a big money midfielder, and you never know.
See, that could happen. But who's it going to go for? Baleba, 100 million. I'm not sure where they're going to get 100 million from in January.
Mohammed says, watching from Japan, big up Big fan of you guys. Keep up the good work.
Cheers, my mate.
Thanks for watching, my mate, and giving us the kind words. And everyone else out there who's been joining us today. Have you got anything else to say today? Anything we've missed?
No. I think everyone should just be optimistic. There's no reason to doom and gloom and all that, because everything what's been done, they've achieved it because they've not been able. They've pushed the money. They've pushed the players. Everything's been done from the pits. They've got rid of the Deadwood. They've used the money what's available, and it looks as though going forward, money will be available because of the strategy INEOS have done, the cost cutting. And you're talking about like £90 million, what will add to the budget next year. That's how it looks. And we've got player sales, money coming in next year. They've done everything, as far as I'm concerned, possible in this transfer window. And they've not overpaid for a player.
Just one point there, what's come back into me. I did feel at points in the article today, I don't know if you've read it as well, that on a couple of things, especially what we touched on earlier on, about Jason Wilcox feeling it was a striker that was most important over a midfielder, which Ruben Amorim wanted. And it also sounded like Amorim wanted to push for Martinez, the goalkeeper from Villa, but they've gone and got Lammens. Do you feel that's the right way to go, though, that it's the club with the final say on transfers more so than the actual manager? Of course, they're going to be aligned on certain things on the profile of players. But do you think it's right that the club have got the final say on transfers? Because I do.
Yeah, because what it is,
more so than the manager.
They will remind Ruben Amorim and they will understand, right, what Ruben Amorim wants. But they then have to put a check on him, like they have to put a check on any manager, and just say, yeah, we get that, but here's the priority for us, because we can't back everything what you want. So we're prioritising certain things. So it's a bit of give and take. Managers, if you give him £200 million, they go and spend it on one player. But the club are telling him, yes, we see what you want. We'll look at it next year, because at this moment in time, our financial situation doesn't get it. So just go for that player. This is what we're getting. And then let's look at next year. So for me, everything's been done right. It's a plan, and it's working at the moment, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, you know, from a club point of view, it's always best that the club have the final say and the rubber stamp on the transfers, more so than the manager, which it seemed to be like with certain transfers under Erik ten Hag. So the club have always got the players in mind, right? What's best for the football club going forward, no matter what manager then is in place. If you get what I mean.
I can see a strategy. I can see a plan. Yeah. Under Woodward, under Arnold, I have not got a clue what the strategy or plan was. Yeah. Who was in charge of buying players? Who was recommending players? Everything else like that. When you just look at it, it was absolutely total disarray, and people took liberties. And I think on the side there was a lot of people making money, what we don't know about.
Just like to thank yourself for joining us today, getting involved in the chat with your own opinions. Continue it in the comment section below. Smash that like button as well to help support the channel. And we'll be back tomorrow with another live. So get that notification on, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy your day. Thank you.
Thank you.